The capture and the kin nest. The floor was cold. Metal. Hard. She opened her eyes slowly. The lights above flickered. Her head was heavy. Her arms were weak. Her body ached. She could taste blood in her mouth. Her name was Aaron, a soldier from the planet Virelia. She had been trained to hate humans. Her people said humans were violent, wild, monsters in flesh. Now, she was their prisoner. The room was silent, except for the soft humming of machines. She tried to move, but her wrists were tied with the strange glowing band. She was alone, or so she thought. Suddenly, footsteps. Heavy boots. Getting closer. Her heart raced. She prepared herself for pain, for torture, for death. This was what she had been told about humans, that they enjoy hurting others, that they take pleasure in the fear of their enemies. She braced herself. The door opened. A man stepped in. Tall, strong. His face was hidden behind a dark helmet. He didn't speak. He stood still for a moment, watching her. She glared at him, her eyes filled with hate. She wanted to scream, to fight, but she had no strength left. He took off his helmet. She blinked. He didn't look like a monster. He looked tired. His eyes were not full of anger. They were calm, sad, maybe even kind. He slowly walked toward her, holding a small bottle of water. Aaron frowned. What kind of trick was this? He didn't speak. He knelt beside her, removed the band around her wrists, and placed the water near her lips. She turned her head away. No tricks, he said softly. Just water. His voice was quiet, not cold, not cruel. She hesitated, then took a small sip. The water felt like life in her throat. Why? She asked. Her voice was rough. Why help me? The man sat down on the floor, leaning against the wall. Because you're hurt, and because you're not the enemy. Not right now. She stared at him. What was he talking about? I'm not here to hurt you, he said. Name's Eli. She didn't reply. He looked at her arm. Blood was still coming from a wound near her shoulder. He opened a small bag and pulled out a medical kit. She flinched. I'm going to clean that, he said. It'll sting. You could just let me die, she hissed. I could, he said, but I won't. He cleaned the wound carefully. She watched him, confused. Every move was gentle. Every touch was careful. Like she was something important. Not a prisoner. Not a threat. You don't act like a human, she said. He raised an eyebrow. What do you think we are? Killers. Destroyers. You ruin everything. He laughed. Not in anger, but in sadness. Maybe we do, but we also try to fix things. She looked away. He stood up. You're safe here, for now. Is this a prison? She asked. He paused. It's a medical room. You needed help. He walked toward the door. Eli, she said, surprising even herself. He turned. If I had caught you, she said, I wouldn't have been this kind. He gave a small smile. Then I'm glad I caught you first. The door closed behind him. Aaron lay there, staring at the ceiling. Her mind was spinning. Nothing made sense. He should have hurt her, but he didn't. He gave her water. He healed her wounds. She had been ready to die, but now, she wasn't so sure. Maybe, just maybe, not all humans were monsters. The cage or the shelter. Aaron woke with a start. Her body was no longer in pain, but her mind was restless. The room was still the same plain, metallic quiet, but something had changed. There were no restraints now, no glowing cuffs, no guards. The door was locked, but not sealed like a prison, and next to the bed, a tray with food, warm, fresh food, some kind of bread, a fruit she didn't recognize, and water again. She stared at it suspiciously. Poison? A test? No, humans didn't work like that. Not in stories, anyway. In the stories, they destroyed first and asked questions later. She hadn't eaten in days. Hunger was stronger than fear now. She took a bite. It wasn't just edible, it was good. Soft, sweet, strange, but good. A soft knock. She jumped. The door opened slightly, and Eli peeked in. You're awake, he said with a small smile. Thought. You might be hungry. She narrowed her eyes. Still trying to trick me? If I wanted you dead, you'd be gone by now, he said. Trust me, Our kitchen is way slower than our weapons." She didn't laugh, but something in her chest loosened just a little. "Why are you doing this?" she asked. "Why treat me like I'm not the enemy?" He stepped inside, slowly. "Because you're not my enemy. You're just someone who got caught in something bigger." She looked away. "You sound like someone who regrets this war." "I do," he said. "Every minute of it." There was a silence. Not uncomfortable, but heavy, like both of them were trying to hear the same invisible sound. Finally, she spoke again. "This room, is this a cage?" He looked around. "Depends. Do you feel like a prisoner?" She stared at him. "You tell me, Hank," he said. "You're in a place meant to keep you safe. Not locked up." She scoffed. "That's what a good cage always says." He didn't argue. Instead, he reached into his pocket and pulled out a small device. He placed it on the table beside her food tray. "What's this?" she asked. "A translator," he said. "It works both ways, so you don't have to struggle with our language anymore." She frowned. "Why would you make it easier for me to speak?" "Because if we're going to talk," he said, "I want to understand you, and I want you to understand me." Again, he walked to the door. "Wait," she said. He stopped. "Do you have music?" Now he looked confused. "Music? Yes," she said. "I read once that humans use music to feel emotions. I want to hear it." He smiled. "A real one this time." "You read that, huh?" She nodded. He took out a small earpiece and tapped it. A soft, slow sound filled the room. Gentle piano. Sad, but beautiful. Erin closed her eyes. For a moment, there was no war, no pain, no lies, just sound and peace. That night, when Eli left, Erin didn't sleep right away. She looked around the room again. The lights were soft now. Someone had dimmed them. A small blanket lay folded at the foot of her bed. Her wounds had been treated, bandaged with care. She wasn't in a cell. She was in a shelter. But that made it worse, because now, she didn't want to leave. The next day, something strange happened. She heard laughter. Not soldiers, not scientists. Children. Real, human children laughing, running, playing. She stood near the window of her room, peeking through the small glass. A courtyard below was filled with trees, benches, and two small children chasing each other. One boy tripped and fell. The girl helped him up and hugged him. Erin had never seen anything like it. Back on Virelia, children trained early. Play was weakness. Emotion was dangerous. But here, emotion was power, and it terrified her. Eli returned. "You saw the courtyard?" he asked. She nodded. "You're not the only guest here," he said. "This base isn't just for soldiers. It's for people who want peace." "Peace?" she asked. "There's no such thing between our worlds." "There wasn't," he said. "But maybe there could be." He paused, studying her. "Do you remember the day we captured you?" he asked. "Of course," she said sharply. "There was something strange," he said. "You weren't targeting civilians. You protected them." She was quiet. "I saw it on the footage," he said. "You told your team to back off when a group of human workers ran into your path. You held your fire." "Why?" Her voice was low. "They were not warriors. They had no weapons. It wasn't a fair fight." He smiled. "Exactly." She looked at him. "Are you trying to convince me I'm the good guy now?" "No," he said. "I'm saying maybe you're not the bad one." Erin sighed. The war had taken everything from her friends, family, her future. But now, in this quiet place with warm food, soft music, and laughing children, she was starting to feel something dangerous. Hope. But hope is a tricky thing. It grows quietly. Then one day, it screams. That night, she had a dream. She saw her own people, her commander, her squad, their faces blurred, cold voices whispering, "You trust them? They will break you. They will lie. Humans are poison." She woke up sweating, breathing hard, and then she saw it. On the small table near the food tray, a folded piece of paper. It wasn't there before. She opened it. Inside, one sentence was written in perfect Virelian script. "They are watching. Don't trust anyone, not even him." Her blood ran cold. Secrets under skin. The note trembled in Aaron's hands. They are watching. Don't trust anyone. Not even him. The paper felt too thin for how heavy those words were. Who left it? How did they write in her language? Why now? She looked toward the door, half expecting Eli to appear. He didn't. For the first time since arriving, the silence in the room didn't feel peaceful. It felt like it was holding its breath, watching. She got up, walked to the walls, and began searching. Fingers brushed across the cold metal. Corners, seams, small vents. Her eyes narrowed. Their tiny crack barely visible. A camera lens. Watching. She stepped back, heart racing. How many others were there? Later that day, Eli returned. Same soft smile, same relaxed voice. But now, she looked at him differently. The way he entered, the way he spoke, every move felt rehearsed. Too careful. He placed a small box on the table. What's that? She asked, voice sharp. Something I thought you'd like. He opened it. Inside was a small sculpture, something hand-carved. Not alien, not tech. Just a figure of a bird, wings spread. It's called a sparrow, he said. Free, fast, always looking for new skies. She stared at it. Did you carve this? She asked. He nodded. It helps me think. Aaron studied his face. He looked tired again. The lines near his eyes were deeper today, dark circles under them. He was hiding something. But what? Why? Are you really being nice to me? She asked suddenly. Eli raised an eyebrow. I thought we covered that already. No, she said firmly. People don't just change. Not during war. Not like this. So what is it? Guilt? A trick? Or something else? He sighed, sat down slowly. You ever lost someone? He asked. She didn't answer. I have, he said. My brother. He was in the first attack. A colony ship. Gone in seconds. Her chest tightened. I didn't know. No reason you would, he said. But I've been angry. I wanted revenge. For a long time. Then why treat me like this? Because revenge didn't help, he said quietly. It didn't bring him back, and it didn't stop the war. It just made more people die. Silence stretched between them like a tight why I look at you, he continued, and I see someone who's scared, hurt, confused, just like me. Erin's eyes burned. She hated how his words made sense. She wanted to hold on to her anger, her distrust, but he was breaking through, and she hated that too. That night, she didn't sleep. She kept staring at the sparrow. Free, fast, always looking for new skies. Then her mind returned to the note. Don't trust anyone. Could it be from another Virelian? But how? She was the only prisoner here, right? Unless there were more, somewhere nearby. The next morning, she made a request. I want to walk, she told Eli. He looked surprised. Outside? Not far, she said. Just space, air. I won't try to escape. He studied her face. You're not a prisoner, she smirked. Funny. Feels like I am. He led her through quiet corridors. No guards, just cameras. The base felt more like a hospital than a military post. They walked past a hallway she hadn't seen before. A door near the end caught her eye. It was slightly open, and inside, she saw something that froze her blood. Another room, another bed. And on that bed, another Virelian conscious female. Who is that? Aaron demanded. Eli turned. That's not your concern. She's one of mine, she said. Why didn't you tell me? She was found after a crash, he said. She's not awake. We didn't know if you two were connected. You said I was the only one. I said you were the only one talking to us. He didn't sound angry, just tired. But Aaron's mind was racing. 2 Virelians here, and one leaving secret notes? Maybe she wasn't as alone as she thought. Maybe she wasn't being watched by humans. Maybe she was being watched by someone closer to home. Back in her room, she stared at the walls again. If that Virelian woman woke up, things could change. Maybe she knew more. Maybe she had answers. Or maybe she brought danger. Was she the one who left the note? Or was someone else pulling the strings? That evening, Eli returned with 2 cups of something warm. Tea, he said. Smells weird, she muttered. Tastes worse. He grinned. But it clears your mind. They sat in silence, sipping. Tell me something real, she said. No war stuff. No peace talks. Just real. Eli leaned back. Okay, I was supposed to be a farmer. She blinked. A farmer? Yeah, he said. Before the war, my family grew apples. Real ones. On Earth. She tried to picture him in a field. Muddy boots. Sun on his face. Didn't fit. But also, it kind of did. What happened? She asked. The war happened, he said. It always does. Aaron nodded. Then quietly, she whispered. I wanted to be a scientist. He looked at her in surprise. I was curious, she said. I liked to study other worlds. I thought maybe one day, we'd meet someone out there, and it wouldn't be for fighting. Eli raised his cup in a toast. Here's to Miss Dreams. They clinked cups, and in that small moment, they weren't enemies, they were just people, lost in a war neither of them wanted. But peace is fragile, especially when secrets are still buried. That night, Aaron woke again. The sparrow was gone. In its place, another note. This one said, they're hiding something underground. Not even Eli knows. Find the door. It's in the north corridor. Midnight. She stared at it, heart pounding. Someone else was in this base. Someone who knew more than she did. And she had one chance to find out the truth. The escape offer. The base was dead silent. It was just past midnight. Even the humming of the walls seemed quieter, like the building itself was holding its breath. Erin stepped into the north corridor, her boots light, careful. The note from earlier burned in her memory. They're hiding something underground. Not even Eli knows. Find the door. North corridor. Midnight. Her pulse thudded in her ears. Her eyes scanned every door, every crack. She didn't know if this was a trap. She didn't know who had left the note. But she knew one thing. She had to know the truth. At the end of the hallway, she found it. A plain wall. No handles. No signs. Just a faint outline of a rectangle like a hidden hatch. She pressed her hand against it. Nothing happened. Then a hiss. It slid open. Cold air rushed out. Dark stairs led down. Erin took a deep breath and entered. She walked in silence, her boots echoing faintly against the metal steps. The air grew colder, the lights dimmer. Then she saw it. A door with glowing red symbols. Varillian script. Her script. She wasn't alone here. She pressed forward and stopped. A voice behind her. You really don't listen, do you? Erin spun, fists up. Out of the shadows stepped someone she never expected to see again. Commander Threx, her old superior, last seen in the final battle assumed dead. He looked older, leaner, more worn down, but his eyes were still sharp. Still dangerous. Threx, she whispered. How? I should ask you that, he interrupted. Having tea with humans? Playing house with the enemy? I was captured, she said. I did what I had to survive. Survive? He laughed. Coldly. You've gotten soft, Erin. She narrowed her eyes. You left us. I escaped, he said. And I've been underground ever since. Watching. Waiting. For what? She asked. He stepped closer. For this moment. Threx explained everything. The humans were keeping secrets not just from the Varillians, but from their own people. Experiments. Bioweapons. Something dangerous buried deep in this base. Something that could wipe out entire planets. They call it Project Ashfall, Threx said. But what it really is extinction in a bottle. Erin's heart pounded. Why would Eli lie to me? Maybe he doesn't know, Threx said. Or maybe he does. Humans are clever with their truths. She remembered Eli's eyes, his stories, the sparrow. Could it all have been a game? Come with me, Threx said. We can escape tonight. A ship is waiting 2 kilometers out, cloaked. Once we're out, we expose this place. Expose them. She hesitated. What about the others? She asked. The children. The civilians? Collateral, he said flatly. Just like ours were. Erin stepped back. No, Threx's tone turned cold. You still think peace is possible? After what they did? I don't know, she said. But I do know not all of them are monsters. Feelings don't win wars, he snapped. Decisions do. So decide, Erin. Are you Varillian? Or are you a pet for the humans now? She stared at him. This was it. The choice. That night, she returned to her room. Eli was waiting. You okay? He asked. You? Missed dinner, she nodded slowly. Went for a walk, she said. He raised an eyebrow. Find anything interesting? She sat down, looked at him. Do you know what Project Ashfall is? Eli froze, just for a second, but it was enough. She saw it in his eyes. He knew. Where did you hear that? He asked quietly. It's real, isn't it? She said. Something dangerous. Something hit. Eli looked down. Yes, he admitted. But I don't have access to it. It's above my clearance. They keep it sealed, locked underground. What is it? I don't know exactly, he said. But I've heard whispers. A weapon. Something created in case the war turned worse. And you never told me? I didn't want you to think I was part of it, he said. Because I'm not. I'm not one of them. You are one of them, Eli, she whispered. And I need to know if they gave the order. Would you use it? His voice broke. I don't know. She didn't sleep that night. She just stood at the window, watched the stars, and tried to decide who to believe. Threx had a ship, an escape plan, a war to win. Eli had a soul, a heart, maybe even hope. But was that enough? The next morning, alarms blared. Intruder alert. Hangar breach. Unauthorized shuttle launch. Erin's blood ran cold. Threx. He wasn't waiting for her. He was leaving. Or worse, he was launching something. Eli ran in, eyes wide. What did you tell him? He shouted. Did you talk to him? Erin nodded. He told me everything. Then you know what's at stake, Eli said. Help me stop him, please. She stared at him. Her decision was made. They ran through the base together, two former enemies, now chasing the same ghost, through the northern corridors, down the metal steps, back to the hidden door. The underground chamber was open now, lights flashing red, sirens echoing. Inside, Threx stood before a control panel. The room glowed with energy. You're too late, he shouted. This base dies today, and with it, their lies. No, Erin yelled. There are innocents here. Doesn't matter, Threx roared. They didn't care about ours. He pressed a button. The weapon core began charged. Eli rushed forward, tackled him. Fists flew. Sparks fell. Screams echoed. Erin dashed to the console. The language was human, but she could read just enough. Override required. Secondary access needed. Eli, she shouted. I need you. Bleeding from the lip, he staggered over, slammed his hand on the panel. Override accepted. Countdown aborted. The room went silent. Only their breaths remained, and Threx cuffed, screaming. You've betrayed your own kind. Erin looked at him. No, she said. I chose my kind. And she looked at Eli. Later that night, they sat quietly in the courtyard. The children were gone. The air smelled like burnt metal. Eli turned to her. Are you going to leave? He asked. She looked up at the stars. I don't know, she said. But I think I'm finally free to decide. He handed her something. It was the sparrow, repaired, wing glued back on. She held it tightly. She wasn't running anymore. She was flying. The betrayal. Erin stood at the edge of the landing pad, wind tugging at her coat. Behind her, Earth was a memory. Ahead, the cold black of space. Beside her, Eli, sure you want to do this? He asked. No, she said. But I have to. You don't owe them anything, he said quietly. I owe truth, she replied. What they believe about humans. About me. It's all lies now, Eli sighed. Just promise me one thing. She looked at him. Come back. She hesitated, then nodded, but in her mind, she wasn't so sure she'd get the chance. The ship was small, fast, silent. She flew alone, and in the quiet hum of space, her thoughts swirled like a storm. Would they believe her? Would they kill her? Her hands trembled slightly on the controls. Her landing request was accepted, too easily. Virelia's main hangar hadn't changed. Still sharp, still gray, still cold. But the stairs were different now. Soldiers lined the walls as she stepped out. Weapons weren't drawn, but they were ready, waiting. Her boots echoed like gunshots as she walked toward the central hall. And there, at the far end, stood someone she hadn't seen in years. High Warden Velix. the judge of loyalty, the executioner of traitors. His eyes were like glass clear, cold, and unblinking. Aaron, he said, with no emotion. Alive. And, returning from the arms of the enemy. I bring proof, she said. I have information that can end the war. He raised one brow. Information bought with how much betrayal? They locked her in the Hall of Truths, a wide, stone room with glowing walls that recorded every word. She explained everything. The base, the weapon, Threx, Eli, and her choice to stop the destruction to save humans and Virilians alike. Felix listened, expressionless. At the end, he said only one thing, wait. Then he left. For days, they kept her in the chamber. No trial, no contact. Only one visitor came, Commander Vex, her old second-in-command, her childhood friend. He stepped in silently, holding a small sphere of light. Aaron, he said, sitting opposite her. Why? She met his eyes. Because I saw the truth. You were trained to see lies, he said bitterly. You were our brightest. And now, look at you. I stopped a war crime, she said. You think that makes me the villain? I think, Vex said, that you forgot what they did to us. She leaned forward. You think they killed our people? We killed just as many. It was never justice. It was vengeance. He didn't answer, just stood and walked away. But before he left, he turned back. Be careful, Aaron, he said. Felix doesn't hold trials. He holds examples. Later that night, her cell opened. 2 guards entered. You're free. One said. Her eyes narrowed. Why? Because the High Warden said so. No reason. No conditions. No questions. She stepped out into the hall. Something was wrong. Very wrong. Vex met her outside. You need to leave, he said in a low voice. Why? She asked. Because you were never freed, he whispered. They're watching. Waiting. For what? For you to run, he said. Then they can label you a fugitive. No trial. No questions. A trap. A game. And she was the bait. But she didn't run. Instead, she walked straight into the central forum, a massive dome where Virilian Council met in secret. And this time, she didn't bring fear. She brought data. From Eli. From the base. From Project Ashfall. She plugged it into the central core. Holograms exploded into the air, images of labs, of weapons, of Threx activating the device. And finally her and Eli shutting it down. The room was silent. Then came the voice from behind. Claire, it's low, loud, mocking. Felix. Well done, Aaron, he said. You've shown us everything. Now, the people will know how deep your betrayal runs. What? She asked, confused. You helped the humans hide this, he said. You destroyed proof. You protected their soldier. You interfered with military data. No, she said. I exposed it. Too late, he smiled. The council already voted. You've been stripped of rank, of title, of name. Her knees went weak. You're lying, she whispered. But then Vex stepped forward, holding something, her military badge. He dropped it to the floor. It clattered like a gunshot. Aaron of Virilia, Felix said, is dead. They didn't imprison her. They didn't kill her. They did something worse. They erased her. No home. No family. No future. A ghost in the system. An exile. A betrayal. Not from her, but against her. She walked alone through the halls. No one looked at her, with hate, not with pity. Just nothing. She wasn't a traitor. She wasn't a hero. She was no one. When she reached the landing bay, Vex was waiting. He didn't speak. He just handed her a data crystal. She stared at it. What's this? Everything I could find, he said. About Ashfall. About Felix. About the war. Why? She asked. Because, he said, voice low. I don't think you're wrong anymore. And then, for the first time, he saluted her. No title. Just respect and guilt. Aaron took the ship, left orbit in silence, didn't look back. Back to Earth? No, not yet. She had a new mission now. To reveal the truth. All of it. To everyone. No more lies. No more flags. No more betrayal. Only truth. Whatever it cost. Fire and forgiveness. Space stretched endlessly in front of her, behind her. Betrayal, loss, silence. Erin sat in the pilot seat of her stolen Virilian ship, a single crystal glowing faintly in her hand. The data Vex had smuggled to her. It contained everything: secret orders, classified weapon research, and one name that echoed louder than all the rest: Felix. He had orchestrated everything: the war, the fear, the lies. And when she tried to stop it, he erased her, but not for long. Not anymore. She didn't return to Earth directly. Instead, she sent an anonymous message to Eli. They know it's coming. Prepare everyone. Don't trust the skies. No name, no code. But she knew he'd understand. 3 days later, the skies did fall. Erin hovered above the Earth base cloaked in Virilian tech, watching the first wave of ships pierce the atmosphere. But they weren't from Virilia, not officially. These were unmarked, silent, fast, loaded with the kind of weaponry that wasn't meant for diplomacy. Threx's faction, the Risen Flame. She should have guessed. Felix hadn't sent soldiers, he'd sent extremists, loyalists trained in silence. Invisible hands to strike from the shadows while denying Virilia's official involvement. Dirty war, silent massacre, and Earth had no idea. The first explosion shook the southern perimeter of the base. A communications tower turned to fire. The children's courtyard where Erin had once stood was now smoke and screaming. Erin pushed the throttle and uncloaked, diving into the chaos. She didn't need orders anymore. She had purpose. She landed hard, disembarked fast. Soldiers were everywhere, confused and under attack from an enemy that didn't speak. She grabbed a fallen rifle. It felt heavier than she remembered. Then she heard it. His voice. Get back. Move. Move. Eli, covered in ash, bleeding from the forehead, dragging a wounded medic behind cover. She ran to him, dropping the rifle. He looked up, eyes wide. Erin. She didn't speak, just pulled him and the medic to safety. Then she spoke just 2 words. They're not here to talk. For the next hour, fire ruled. The base fell into chaos. The Risen Flame breached 3 zones, planted charges, and tried to access Project Ashfall's vault. But this time, Erin was waiting. She cornered 2 of them in the lower engineering deck. She recognized their armor, their insignias hidden but familiar. They turned, aiming at her. She didn't hesitate. 2 blasts, 2 bodies, and silence. Later, she met Eli again in the operations room. He was breathing hard, holding his ribs. You came back, he said. I thought I was hallucinating. You still might be, she said, loading another clip. I've been doing some soul searching. Thought I'd come back and shoot a few ghosts. He laughed then winced. Don't make me laugh. Everything hurts. She looked around. What's the status? Half the base is gone. Ashfall's vault is still sealed for now. But we don't know how long the locks will hold. Erin's jaw tightened. Then we hold with them. That night, during the short pause between assaults, Eli and Erin sat in a broken mess hall. The walls were scorched. The floor cracked. But for a moment, it was quiet. Tell me the truth, she said. Which one? He asked. Did you ever know what Ashfall really was? He paused. I didn't, he said. But I knew it was dangerous. And I didn't push hard enough to stop it. She nodded. I went back home, she said. They didn't welcome me. He looked at her gently. You expected forgiveness? No, she said. But I didn't expect the silence to be so loud. Suddenly, an alarm. A new breach. Ashfall's vault. The locks were failing. Erin and Eli led the charge. Down corridors of smoke and flickering lights, through broken doors and over the fallen. They reached the vault seconds before the breach. Standing at the controls, Threx. His armor was scarred. His face was marked. But his rage burned like a sun. You came back, he growled. To finish the betrayal. You don't need this weapon, Erin shouted. I need it to finish what they started. He roared. You'll kill everyone. Good, he snapped. Then maybe they'll remember what we lost. He pressed the sequence. A low rumble began. The weapon core activated. Erin lunged to late. But Eli stepped forward. Stop, he said. Voice calm. Look at what you're doing. You're human, Threx spat. You don't get to speak. Maybe not, Eli said. But I know pain. I know grief. I lost a brother. And I know revenge never fills the hole it leaves. Threx aimed a pistol. I'm done listening. He fired, but Aaron was faster. She took the shot straight to the shoulder and fired back. Threx fell. The chorus still hummed, counting down. Can we stop it? Eli asked, running to the console. Aaron said, holding her arm. Then silence. Deactivation override accepted. Countdown aborted. The room exhaled. So did they? They emerged from the vault bloodied, burned, but alive. The attack was over. The risen flames assault had failed, but the cost was high. Too many lives lost. Too many scars carved deep. 2 days later, Aaron stood beside Eli at the edge of the rebuilt courtyard. The children played again, but they played in shadows. Not because of fear, but because of memory. I still don't know if peace is real, Aaron said. Maybe it's not, Eli said. Maybe it's not a destination, just something we chase every day. And what if we fall again? She asked. Then we get back up, he said. Or someone else does. Aaron smiled faintly. She reached into her pocket, pulled out the sparrow. Its wings still chipped, its tail still cracked, but it stood tall, like her. You ever think, she said, that monsters can learn how to sing? He looked at her. Only when they stop screaming, he replied. Aaron looked up. The stars hadn't changed, but she had. And maybe that was enough to start something new. Peace begins with one. The war didn't end with an explosion. It ended with a vote. 3 weeks after the Ashfall incident, the Galactic Council met for the first time in 20 years, and this time, humans and Virilians sat in the same room, not across the table, beside each other. The air was sharp with distrust. The silence was not peace, it was hesitation wearing a suit. But then, Aaron stood up, and everything changed. She looked around the chamber, a place filled with the weight of centuries. A place where peace had once lived, and where lies had danced in its clothing. I was taught, she began, that humans were dangerous, that your smiles were masks, that your peace was poison. She paused. I believed it. Every head turned, until one of you gave me water instead of pain, gave me truth instead of commands, and trusted me when I didn't even trust myself. The room listened, still as stone. I've been called a traitor, a ghost, a weapon, but I stand here now not as a soldier. She took a breath, but as proof. The final words echoed like thunder, proof that peace isn't made by nations. It's made by people, one choice at a time. And then, she stepped back. The silence didn't break. It breathed. The vote passed. By1. Single vote. Peace was no longer an idea. It was now a treaty, signed not in ink, but in sacrifice. 3 months later, Earth and Virilia formed the Interworld Coalition. They appointed one representative from each world. And then, they made a surprise move. They added one more, a symbol living bridge. Someone who knew both sides. Someone who had bled for both sides. Someone who had once been erased. Erin didn't want it. Not at first. She didn't want the spotlight, the top ceremony, the speeches, but she accepted. Because peace only works if someone keeps it alive. The coalition met in what was once a weapons facility, now transformed into a peace hall. Children walked through the same courtyard where the fighting began, and in one glass-walled office near the center, Aaron sat, reading through a report on food shortages in a border colony, until a knock broke the quiet. Eli stood in the doorway, same crooked smile, still refusing to wear a proper uniform. You missed lunch, he said. I was working, she said. You're always working, he said, stepping inside. Even when you're technically in charge of everyone, someone has to be the boring one, she said. He handed her a tablet. What's this? She asked. A request from the Virilian ambassador. They want to invite you back. Officially, her eyebrows rose. As what? A celebrity defector? As a diplomat, he said. Or maybe a warning. Depends on how they feel that day. Aaron leaned back, sighing. I haven't been back since. You know, I do, Eli said. But maybe it's time. She looked at him. Do you really believe this'll hold? She asked. That peace will last? Eli didn't answer immediately. Then he walked to the window. Outside, humans and Virelians work side by side. Engineers, scientists, kids laughing near a fountain. He smiled. I don't know if peace will last, he said. But I know you will. That night, Aaron walked alone through the Coalition Memorial Garden. Each stone bore a name. Human, Virelian. Some she had fought beside. Some she had fought against. All now equal. Dust and memory. She reached one stone. It bore no name, just the word, unknown. She knelt, placing a small carved sparrow on top of it. This, she whispered, is for the ones who never got to choose. Just as she stood, she heard footsteps behind her. A voice followed. It's strange seeing you here. She turned sharply. Vex, dressed in a civilian coat. No rank, no weapons, but his eyes were still alert. Didn't expect to see you, she said. Didn't expect to come, he replied. But then again, I didn't expect you to survive half the things you've walked through. They stood in awkward silence for a moment. Finally, he spoke again. The High Warden's gone. Dead? She asked. Exiled, he said. No, one wanted another martyr. The new council, they're different. Better? She asked. Not yet, he admitted. But maybe. She nodded. Why are you here, Vex? He looked her in the eyes. To say I was wrong. The words hit harder than any bullet ever had. And to say thank you, he added, for not becoming like him. She didn't respond right away, but her voice was soft when she finally did. You still owe me dinner, she said. He cracked a grin. I'll add it to my guilt tab. And then, like a ghost, he was gone again. Later, Erin returned to her office. She found a small package on her desk. No name. No message. Inside, a hand-carved wooden sparrow. Its wings now fully restored. She placed it on the windowsill. The stars looked closer now, like they were listening. Outside, a new day began. Ships moved peacefully through the sky. Voices laughed. And for the first time in generations, there was no war. No alarms. No screaming. Just one woman who chose not to hate.